Hey there guys! Today I wanted to share with you this thing that's been happening. I feel like I needed to get this out into the world because this is so ridiculous. When you work in customer service, you experience the very worst in people. Anybody who's ever worked in customer service, will agree with me. They can tell you that even, just normal people, just somehow, being in a store and dealing with salespeople, it brings the absolute worst out in someone. I don't know what it is, I don't know what kind of magic mojo is all up in there. For some reason when people come into stores, they have to act literally horrible. And I have a plethora of horrible customer stories that I could be telling you right now, but there is this one that has been getting on my nerves. So, story time. I'm gonna tell you a story and you're gonna listen to me and you're gonna think this is fucking ridiculous as much as I do, and it's gonna be kinda insane, so let's just get into it. You're gonna need a little bit of backstory to understand what's going on here. So, I work in a video game store. I have a manager who works with me. He's a pretty cool dude, and this manager just so happened to be substituting in a different store one day a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and he gets this phone call while he's there. This kid calls him on our work phone, and if you've ever called my place of employment, you know that this place has a long-ass intro that you have to say when you answer the phone. It basically goes something like, "Thank you for calling Stop, where you can pick up your copy of Batman Arkham Knight now. This is Ashton speaking, how can I help you?" Which doesn't sound too bad, right? That's like a 5-second, thanks for calling, random plug-in, this is my name, what the fuck do you want? That's not the problem. The problem is this kid who called one day, and the kid is a prank caller, which is a mild annoyance. It's not like a big deal. We get prank callers all the time. I'm sure every retail place gets prank callers. That's just a thing that happens. And this kid calls and he says something along the lines of, hello, yeah, do you have Call of Duty Advanced Welfare? Dude, it's so funny, oh yeah. That's him laughing to his friends. And my boss decides to play along with it. So he's like, yeah, it looks like we have 3 of those in stock. Do you want me to put one on hold for you? And the kid thinks that's fucking hilarious, right? So he's like, oh yeah, and do you have the expansion pack where you kill people on Social Security? And my boss being like, yeah, actually that's downloadable content. You can buy the code and register it on your game once you buy it. I haven't been told the whole story on how that happened, but basically my boss hangs up the phone because he has to help a customer. Now, usually that's that. You get a prank caller, it's funny, they got their laugh, whatever. That was not the end of this prank caller. This prank caller calls, I think it was at least 5 to 10 more times that night that my boss was there. First time, it's funny. The second time, it's not as funny. The third time, you're just like, don't fucking call me, I'm trying to do my job. And of course this kid has got to be 12 or 13, maybe 14. He's with his group of friends, I get being in the moment and you're thinking that you're being hilarious. But the thing is, he doesn't stop. He keeps calling. My boss comes back to our store, and then this thing happens where we get a call at our store. It is the same kid. He somehow managed to track my manager down from a different store. He calls our store, and of course my boss isn't gonna be around all the time to answer the phone. It went through bouts of we would get a call, a prank call, and the kid would call and say something similar to what he's already asked. He doesn't come up with any jokes or anything. When you hang up, he'd call again and again and again, and it'd go through bouts of he'd call 30 to 40 times in an hour, and then he wouldn't call for a few days, and then he'd call back and start asking the same questions 30 to 40 more times. It got to the point where we can't answer the phone. Working in retail, working in our store, you have to answer the phone every time it rings. You have to give that speech of, "Thank you for calling," where you can trade in all your pre-owned games, plus your firstborn for a new copy of Forza 6, how can I help you today? And having to say that over and over is irritating, especially when you're not actually talking to a person, but we don't have caller ID in our store, so we have to answer the phone every single time with that. Now let me tell you, that gets irritating with the fact you can't just not do that. You have to do that literally every time. And when you're picking up the phone 30 to 40 times in 1 hour and saying the same thing, you're literally, like, one person has to stand by the phone and do nothing else besides pick up the phone because you know this kid is gonna call and there's a chance it's gonna be somebody else. So you can't just not answer it. This kid calls, and he calls literally like every day for an entire week. It gets to the point where everybody's just so fed up with it. It gets to the point where my manager picks up the phone and he's like, if you don't stop calling me, I'm gonna call the police. And he hangs up, and the kid calls again. Of course, he's not gonna take it seriously. My manager plays this really elaborate like, oh, it's you again? And he like, in the background's like, Ashton, get the cops on the phone, and he hangs up, so he knows that the kid hears him, and so I think that scared the kid into not calling anymore. And things were fairly calm for the next couple days, but then, I don't know what happened. I don't know if our store's phone number got posted on the internet, whether it got posted in like 4chan or something. I don't know if he just gave it to all his friends at school, but we suddenly got an influx of calls to an extreme amount. So we were getting at least 60 calls every single night of prank callers just calling, hanging up, calling back. Our phone would be ringing. Like, we have 3 phones, and like each phone would be ringing, like each line is ringing. And you have to like pick it up, answer, like, oh, it's a prank call, pick it up, answer, and they're all prank calls. Like, somebody decided to put our phone number out because somebody heard that our manager would play along with prank phone calls, and it was fucking hilarious. So we get so many calls. I can't even remember the amount of times that I told somebody, no, we don't have Call of Duty Advanced Welfare. No, we don't know the cheat in Saints Row that enables you to see Bill Gates' nipples. No, we don't have the expansion pack for Battlefield Hardline where you get to see Hillary Clinton's vagina. That's not, like, you're not even funny. These aren't even funny things that you're saying, and they're so not original. Like, it'd be one thing if they were funny and original, but they're not. I think I even picked up the phone once, and the kid was like, yeah, I got my, dick stuck in my Xbox CD tray. Do you know how to get it out? And I'm like, first of all, your dick is that small that it fits in your CD tray of your Xbox. Second of all, you're like 13. Do you even know what a dick is? Like, for real. Who are you? We couldn't block these people's numbers because we don't have caller ID. So my manager actually had to call our district manager and was like, hey, this is the thing that's happening. We're getting so many phone calls, like every night. Like, it turns like 7 o'clock and suddenly the phone starts going off the hook and there's these kids calling and there's a ton of them. And we can't get anything done, we can't help customers, we can't put things away. Like, there's just so many phone calls that like, it makes it like impossible to do your job. And my manager calls our district managers like, hey, this is a thing that's happening, we can't even pick up the phone. These kids keep calling us. And my district manager is just like, oh, well, there's no way we can get around it, so just keep picking up, and when you know it's them, just hang up, and that's all you can do. Is that really all you can do? That's not gonna stop them. It got to the point we'd get a prank call, and then we have to take the phones, hang them off the hooks, and leave them unhooked so that nobody can call our store. So that line was busy the entire night. Like, we'd have to take it off, leave it for like 1 or 2 hours, put it back on. Usually by then, they would stop calling. They would give up after getting a busy tone for like an hour. Like, that's, yeah. I felt the need to share this because has anybody else ever experienced the idiocy that comes with 12-year-olds prank calling a video game store? Like, I know it's my job to answer the phone and deal with these people, but just, it's so frustrating. Has anybody else ever had an experience like this? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what your most annoying experience was, if you've ever worked in customer service, or let me know what's the most annoying experience you've had ever being a customer in a store. I'll see you guys later. Bye!